Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video with me, Matt Goddard, here at the Boxing Locker. And today I'm going to talk about a fantasy fight and something that I believe will happen soon enough. I think there's going to be a lot of Turkey Al Sheikh Riyadh season money coming into this one because it is a fight that is incredibly interesting for boxing fans, the world of boxing, and of course, even the regular punters that tune into the big fights. Drum roll! The names that I'm talking about are, of course, in the title, so you all know already who I am discussing, and that is Jaron Boots Ennis, the pride of Philadelphia, and of course, pound for pound numero uno, three-time undisputed, conqueror of Saul Canelo Alvarez, Terence Bud Crawford from Omaha, Nebraska in the USA. Now, let's talk about these two fighters. So, Jaron Ennis, currently 35 wins, 31 knockouts. Bud, 42 wins, 31 knockouts, same number of knockouts. Um, Boots exclusively competing right now at light middleweight. And of course, Bud having moved up to super middleweight, two weight classes above to compete with Canelo, although having already dominated the welterweight scene prior to that. He was light welterweight and welterweight undisputed before taking all the belts off Canelo for the super middle. So, yeah, incredible achievements. I don't really want to go into this too deeply with regards to what Crawford's done, in my opinion, on him. Anybody who tunes into my content will know how big of a fan I am of that man and his exceptional skills and adaptability. But let's cover a little bit of Jaron Ennis. Now, I spoke about Jaron Ennis on my old channel 6 years ago. I think it was something like that. Way back when, prior to Sergey Lipinets, way back. I saw some footage of him come up on YouTube, and I started tuning into some of his fights early on. I think at the time he was maybe 20-0, something like that. So a long way back. And what an exceptional fighter the young man is. He is only 28 years old, and he's got the world at his feet. I think he's been fairly carefully matched, to be quite honest. But I don't think that's really a reflection of what he's capable of or what he would be capable of. I think people would say similar for Crawford prior to his last couple of big wins, which for me would be Spence and Canelo. So let's get into this. The best opponents, in my opinion, with regards to resume, skills, challenge that they presented to the fighter for Boots would be Sergey Lipinets, who was 16-1-1 at the time when Boots competed with him and defeated him handily, comfortably. Castio Clayton was 19-0-1 when they fought. Easy work again for Boots. This is the thing, he's fighting decent names and he's making it look very, very comfortable. David Avanesian, who I would say is fringe world level, but always gives it 100% and puts a challenge in there. He was 34-1 when Boots beat him comfortably. And then, of course, recently we had Stanionis, who was 15-0 and touted as an enormous prospect as well at the time. So that was a great fight and probably the best fight, the most unprotected fight that we have seen from Boots, and Boots absolutely cooked him up. So incredible fighter, very talented. He has a style that's enigmatic, that is erratic, it's unpredictable. There's flair and flourishes in there that you don't see often. There's skills that are exceptional to watch. They make it exciting. They make bland bits of rounds exciting because he's doing things that are unique, that are special, and would be deemed almost artistic in nature, a little bit Roy Jones-esque in terms of their athleticism requirements and the kind of reflexes and reactivity that is required to achieve those. So a lot of the things that Jaron Ennis does are similar to that. He has an enormous defensive capability, head movement, footwork, hand defense, control mechanisms, physicality. He's basically got very good level of everything. And the jab, power in both hands, counter punching, body work. He's exceptional. There's no doubt about it. And he's also, by and large, seems to be very, very willing to fight in any range to work a little bit outside of the rules. And I'm not saying he's cheated, but I mean, he's not afraid to hit people around the ears and back of the head and on top of the head and anywhere that he needs to do the damage. And um, it's okay trying to keep boxing completely pure, but the reality of it is a fighting sport, and things like that are going to happen, and you've got to be willing to be the one to do them rather than have them done to you. So for me, Boots, exceptional fighter, exceptional record. As I said, maybe a little bit protected up till now, but hopefully this video will be a bit of foresight on my behalf, and relatively soon we'll see a big fight announced between Boots and Bud, and I think it will be an enormous fight for the world of boxing. So let's get into Bud. Now, his career is exceptional. As you know, any that follow me and I talk about him, his adaptability is probably the best in boxing. His basic fundamentals are exceptional. He can box in both stances, as Boots can as well. There's a physicality and a dominance to his aura that is exceptionally impactful on opponents. He's beat Bradis Prescott, Ricky Burns, Yuriorkis Gamboa, Victor Postel, Julius Ndongo, Jeff Horn, Jose Benavidez Jr., Amir Khan. This next fight, Cavalioscus, actually is the only time I've seen him hurt with a shot. He was wobbled, his legs shook, but he recovered and did what he needed to do. Walked into a punch. I think he took it a little bit. I think what happened was he kind of dialed back his focus, and he suffered for that. And I haven't seen it happen since. He beat Kell Brook. The performance against Sean Porter, where he got told he was down on the cards, is one of my all-time favorite boxing moments. It harkened back to the Sugar Ray Leonard, "You're blowing it, son," moment, and then he came out and destroyed Tommy Hearns. It was absolutely fantastic. Again, he beat Crawford. Beat Avanesian, the same as Boots. I believe Crawford beat him first, actually. The fantastic victory over Errol Spence, who at the time widely regarded top 5 pound for pound, top 10 pound for pound, best welterweight on the planet. And everybody thought that he was going to absolutely dominate Crawford. Not everybody, I didn't, but most people thought that Spence would pose a much greater challenge than he did, and actually Crawford cooked him alive. Israel Madrimov now. Listen, a lot of people read a lot into this. Remember, styles make fights. How one fighter beats another fighter doesn't mean that that fighter that got beaten or was doing the beating will then have exactly the same fight against another fighter. Madrimov has a unique style. It's that kind of Eastern Bloc, in and out on your toes, funny angles, kind of punching in flurries and then picking big shots and turning out as he punches. And it took Crawford a while to get used to it. And Crawford, for me, did win that fight. It was a close fight. It was a hard fight. What do you want? What do you want to happen with boxing? Every fight can't be easy, and if it is, you're not challenging yourself. That's the reality of the sport. Usyk had challenges against Fury and challenges against Gassiev and Bradis. Inoue had challenges against Donaire in their first fight against Neri. Boxing shouldn't be easy, and if it is easy, then what you're seeing is somebody unchallenged, and that's my point about what we've seen with Boots at the moment. He hasn't really had that level of challenge yet, where he's boxing an opponent who can do what he can do or who should be capable of matching him. And I think that the style balance on that Madrimov Crawford fight was exactly that, and Crawford adapted, and he got done what he needed to get done. And then, of course, Saul Canelo Alvarez, who all-time great boxer, probably in decline, but I've spoke about this in my blog and other things. Still a great win, nonetheless. A great win, an exceptional win against the guy so much naturally bigger than you, and with such a broad experience. What makes Crawford great? Adaptability, efficiency, focus, and the ability to always give everything 100% of his attention with regards to a fight. As I said, the one time I've ever seen him hurt was probably the only time I've ever seen him look like he was switched off. And outside of that, he's dead on all the time, laser-like. And that the last sort of big performances of his career, Canelo, Spence, Postel, these fights were just exceptional to watch. Same with the Sean Porter fight that I mentioned. What he did to Kell Brook, what he did to Amir Khan, Unbelievable boxer. And he's got everything he needs in the tank. He can move his head, he can move his feet, he can jab and move, he can get on the front foot, he can be physical, and he can stance switch, and he works the body well. And as we saw against Canelo, he can counter the counter. He can shut down the counter as well, which is an exceptional skill. Now, how do those two fighters match up? Because that's the thing that you all are here to watch, and that's the thing that I really want to discuss, and that's, you know, this is a fight that people will be really interested in because it's a chess match, but it's a chess match with the threat of being fast paced. Say for example, this is a chess match and you've got a 3 second timer and you've got to make your moves, and that's what we're going to see here. And I think Jaron Ennis has every element required to trouble Crawford. Do I think he beats him? I do not at this present time. I think Crawford is riding the crest of a wave. But he's still looking to go higher. I don't think he has any dreams of dipping off that wave anytime soon and trying any tricks. At the moment, he's for me going to be intent on only taking fights that will raise his profile and his legacy. If this fight is made, it will be for a lot of money. And I think perhaps there'll be another fight for Boots in between on the Riyadh season platform to really hype him up and get everybody interested. Hopefully a big knockout that then people will be drawn in by. So yeah, Boots for me has everything to pose a challenge to Crawford in the way that Madrimov did. The uniqueness, the enigmatic erraticism of his attack styles, his patterns, his head movement, the flair, the pauses, the stutters, the feints, exceptional. And there's not a boxer alive who would find it easy to defeat him. And I think if you're looking at anybody at that weight, which would for me would be light middleweight or middleweight, to beat him, I think Bud would be the only man there right now. I think Virgil Ortiz obviously would be a great fight for anyone and a great fight for Boots because that name will get mentioned. But I think Boots has enough to outpoint Ortiz. As we saw with Ortiz beating Madrimov, he takes a lot of punishment to get to where he got to and do the damage he did. Which, listen, great boxer, massive fan, very entertaining. But I think you've got to look into how fights will play out, and I think Ennis would probably beat him over the 12 stretch. With regards back again to the Bud Boots fight, hard work for Bud, very close fight. I think it would potentially fall to something along the lines of Leonard Hearns. I think one fighter either way is gonna discover that they're down or would discover that their coaching team don't believe that they're doing what they need to do or where they need to be. Apologies for that camera adjustment. Where they need to be, and it would be somewhat similar to Crawford, Porter, potentially. Either way around, I don't know. I think if Crawford establishes range early and works the body hard so that Boots can't use his head movement and slick counter punches, and if Crawford does what he did against Canelo, which is counter the counters and finish every combination, finish every exchange with his own combination, as Leonard did against Hagler, then there's a very strong chance that Crawford wins. I think right now Crawford would win. I think, as I said, he's on the crest of a wave and he's got everything he needs to still beat Boots in a close fight. I think any more than 1-2 more years, and that'll be Boots at the top of that wave, and he'll be rolling straight through Crawford with a. I'm not ever going to say comfortable win because I don't think anyone could beat Terence Crawford comfortably, but with a good win and a career-defining win that would then catapult him into this sort of levels that Crawford beating Spence did. So there we have it, guys. Right now, if this fight happens right now, I think the main man, Terence Bud Crawford, wins in a points decision. If not, if it happens in the next any longer than 2 years, then it's a Boots win. But I genuinely don't see it happening. I think if it takes too long to brew, shall they say, I think Crawford will have retired. I don't think he plans on hanging about unless it's for big money. And I'm talking in the hundreds of millions, which is crazy. So there we have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out all the rest of my content. I'm going to keep trying to do more of these because I do enjoy discussing boxing. If you guys have any that you want to, any fights that you want me to analyze, break down, any fighters that you like that you want me to talk about, or any requests for boxing drills or videos there, please do let me know in the comments below. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, as I said. And please remember, you can subscribe to me on Instagram to see short form content, on my website at the locker, tbltrainingplans.com. Head to the locker on the toolbar at the top. Subscribe to see long form coaching content, like what you see on my YouTube, but in more detail, even more comprehensive, and on a broader range of subjects. You can subscribe there at an incredibly cheap $19.99 a month, which is insane. You can buy my programs at TBL Training Plans. You can follow me across all social media. I'm putting a lot of content out there on Facebook as well, blogs on the website, everything here on YouTube. So yeah, everybody who does already follow me, thank you. Big love to you all. And as always, I will see you for the next video.